in your opinion, does abortion produce irresponsible women?
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh. Damn.
I mean, we had to. I mean, look. Aren't we having real conversation?
I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I read over the questions, but I just was like,
I didn't read the
You
questions.
must have skimmed through those questions real.
I didn't
real
read
fast.
these questions. This is ridiculous.
what were you going through when you wrote these questions? What were you thinking of?
I'm just thinking about what a woman go through. That's it.
I gotta take her lap.
I don't mean no harm. I don't mean no harm.
Oh gosh, I wasn't expecting that. And then to start with me, let's see. You see the thing with this whole and I don't know if we can say the word because I know there's certain words you can't say on YouTube because they'll censor the R word and the so I'll try to limit how.
This is a PG channel.
You said if it fosters in what's you said?
I said, in your opinion, does abortion produce irresponsible women?
Irresponsible. You know what? And I'm gonna bring it further. You see the sexual liberation movement created irresponsible women. These women who think that I can do whatever and I can just live. And living in Texas, they had passed a law or rule to limit the.
Yeah.
And so many people took it to Instagram and Facebook and was like, oh, Texas is so backwards. And I'm looking at like, sis, you have like 1 million different birth controls you can use before that is your option. No, I'm not necessarily against it. Do whatever you have to do because, for whatever reason you want to do it. So I'm never going to be out there marching like, oh, no, end it. However, if we are going to say that, oh, we have a right to our bodies our right, we have to be responsible with it. We have these women using abortions as a plan B, like as a contraceptive.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I get pregnant, oopsies, I'll just go to the clinic. There has to be a limit, there has to be a line, and it comes back down to men not being able to have a say in these things because the structure that would be there. For say the R word happened and she doesn't want to bring the baby to term and she chose that route. But these women are saying, oh, oops, I didn't make it to CVS yesterday in the morning, so let me just go that route. Like these women are treating abortion like it's just nothing. And it is, yes, creating these reckless women, but I wouldn't say it's it in itself. I would say it's the sexual liberation movement, and I would say that it's not being able to call it out, not being able to shame that behavior, because with these millions of people who were giving their opinion when Texas passed that law, and me being that one person to say, wait, but you guys can't, because they were like, oh, instead of banning abortion, let's promote vasectomy. What's it called when the men cut their
Vasectomy.
That is not the same. That is not the same. Or like, let's promote male birth control. Abortion is not a birth control. It's not, and I think it's the issue with it is so many women view it as it's a birth control, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. What do you think, DNieka?
Hell yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I really do. I do believe that abortion is contributing to more ladies, young ladies, females of today being irresponsible, being reckless, because they know that they have that as a backup option. And again,
I agree.
I do. I'm not against abortion. Like, again, if it's a drastic measure that needs to be taken, as far as like the R word or something like that, go for it. But what I see is females willingly, consciously, just laying down, creating these babies, and then saying, well, if I make a baby in the process, then I'll just get rid of it. And that's a problem for me. And that's something that needs to be addressed, ladies. especially because so many of us are using that as a form of birth control. You know, like Chantel was saying, like it's so many other routes and measures that can be taken to prevent certain things from happening before you even go that route. Like that's extreme.
Right.
And so for us to go and use abortions as a means of like birth control, that's just a little bit too much for me. And I do feel like it does promote us being more reckless because I don't have to think about popping a pill or getting something inserted or remembering to do, you know, whatever the case is. But if something happens, I'll still have an opportunity or a chance to get rid of, you know, a human just by me being reckless. So I do think it does contribute to a lot of us being reckless today because we always know that's going to be a backup plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think, Riva?
I completely agree with that. And what they're both saying, as well as, you know, you can go like Danica just said, you can just walk up and okay, well, if I get pregnant, it's not a big deal. I'll just go over there and they know me anyway. I'm a regular. Right. So it's not a big deal. You know, they already know when I come up in here what the process is. But it's encouraging a lot of unprotected sex, which is a issue.
Absolutely.
Having babies, you know, back in the day, it used to be like, oh no, you know, don't have unprotected sex because you can get pregnant. Now pregnancy has become the least, and more women are just freely giving their bodies, not remembering that, hello, these diseases are very, very real out here.
Right.
You're over here thinking like, oh, the worst is over because I can go throw this away. But there's other things that you can live with long term. So it does create this, you know, mentality of like, oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, it's a couple $100. Oh yeah, we could just take care of that. It's not. It's nothing. And it is something. It's a lot of trauma on your body.
Yes.
You know, making these companies real rich just because of, you know, you just being so. Again, there's a million steps to get to, like literally, like, you know, stuff that he can put on. There's birth control. There's like so many. There's a pill after if you forget. You know, like, there's so many things. And to even go off of what you just said, Chantel, when it comes to that thing in Texas, I saw that, and I saw people were getting so upset about it. But then I saw the time frame that it said. And I was thinking, if there's any person logically who has any heart, right, who is going to even want to do that, not in the means of, you know, there's like Danica said, the R word, that's a different conversation. You're gonna go far and then change your mind. That's very like crazy. That's especially if it's not for like a traumatic reason or something extremely serious. Again, like the lady said, I don't see, you know, it's your body. You should. Some people bring babies in the world. They can't take care of the baby, and then they end up doing harm to the baby, throwing the baby away, doing all types of stuff. So at the end of the day, I understand, you know, why it's there and why it's in place. But is it creating irresponsible females? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I often think or wonder, you know, if men, like if a woman was to abort a baby, if she had to get the approval of, you know, the man, the boyfriend, whoever to do so, like if that would change things. Because my personal opinion is that I don't think women should have the power to abort a baby without the father's consent, because like he was you know, involved in making that baby for either better or for worse. And so, and I know there's certain situations, again, like, you know, the R word, that's a different context, but generally speaking, you know, many of these women, they know who they're laying down with, right? Or they know who the daddy may be in most cases. It just makes more sense to me that like a man should be involved in that process of taking a life. And I just wonder, like, if the laws required that, if the laws required the consent of the mother and the father to abort a baby, if that would affect a woman's behavior.
I think the opposite. I think they should have a meeting, you know, to consent if you want the baby to be there, because sometimes he said he ain't want that baby. Before it even happened, he already told you he didn't want that baby. He was doing that because you thought that it was all cute and that was gonna make him want to be with you. So I think that what you're thinking, but I think the opposite of to bring forth life into this world They need to have complete documents. Okay, I said I didn't want it, so I'm releasing all of my power.
Yeah, fair. No, fair.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
To add to what River just said, I think also on the flip side, it needs to be more than just both parents, both mom and dad coming and saying, okay, let's go to the clinic. It needs to be an extensive therapy, walking through it, exploring your different options, all these things. Like the fact that we can just get up, I can be pregnant now and say, oh, I don't want it. Let me just go to Planned Parenthood real quick. Like that's the concerning part. And not actually putting us. And I used to work in the foster care system, right? And like 95% of my clients who had kids did not need kids. Like they should not have had these kids, you know. So before, my mindset was like, damn, like, you know, abortion should be more open. But then in thinking about it, and this was like 8 years ago, in thinking about it now, there are many other steps before you get to a baby in your belly. There are many other steps. So in me thinking as a foster care workers to say like, nah, we should have abortion. I think a lot of women are thinking like that because we know what the foster care is like. We know what bringing in a child in this world is like without, you know, being financially stable, without having that proper backing. But at the same time, you know what it was like too when you sat there and opened your legs unprotectedly.
Right. That part.
Exactly. So jump into abortion as the solution when there were 50 other solutions before in the name of sexual liberation. It's invalid.
It's true.
That's true.
Somebody's feelings is really hurt. Somebody's feelings about to be really hurt tonight. I'm just saying that.
Man, I'm telling y'all.
Eugene Steele, thank you for the $5 super chat. I see females have abortions that have a sense of freedom, but as years go by, their feelings of guilt will grow. At one point, they end up wishing. Oh, that's facts. I mentioned this in another video I did where it's like the thing about abortion that nobody wants to talk about is the psychological repercussions. Like there are obviously going to be physical repercussions to a certain point, but like psychologically, that's a real thing. I know women who have they've held that abortion as if it's like something they're ashamed about. Like they feel internally they did something wrong, and that can weigh on a woman.
Yeah.
So,
you know what too? Also, because sometimes those women that do that, you know, they do that when they're young and they just kind of like, you know, oh, whatever. And then when they really are ready to have a child, they might have like complications and stuff.
And then they feel like karma or whatever they call it. Yeah.
That could have been your opportunity to, you know, parent a child. And then you just got so, you know, lackadaisical with the whole situation. And then now when you really are ready, you can't. And that's hurtful. And these are conversations that women need to hear, especially young women.
Yes.
You need to have these conversations. You can't just, you know, some women, I'm going to be honest. Okay. We have some modern women who are not evolved in their mind.
And they don't
not care. Okay. They take that shit gladly. They bumping their music on the way. Like, I'm about to go do this thing.
Doing an abortion party after.
They're completely, you know, but I think that you're protected. Sometimes you're protected when when you're ignorant, when you really don't know. But there's other situations that's not the case for everybody. You have issues down the line. You have stuff that goes wrong. You have certain situations so I think those are conversations that need to be had for sure.